references to Greek and Roman cultures, Greek and Roman mythological references, Greek and Roman words which occur every now and then in the poems of kids. Now, friends, these are some of the lines, and if you go accordingly and if you try to trace out the sources, you will certainly find it easy. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So, one need not blame Keats' English, that Keats is not English, he is Hellenic. It is not the case. Actually, the whole European culture is a kind of one entity, and English has adopted so many words, so many concepts, so many mythological references from both Greek and Roman background. That is why Keats' English, if we call it difficult, then I think I am wrong. Now, next, as I told you earlier that I have started right from Chaucer, and now I have touched upon T.S. Eliot, the great writer, critic of the 20th century. And he was so influential that he affected the whole scenario of literature. And see his dates, 1888 to 1965. During his prolonged literary career, of course, he started as not as a writer. He worked in the bank also, he worked in the media also. So he had a prolific kind of career, and he is one of the greatest poets, dramatists, critics of the 20th century. So he wrote almost every sort of writings for kids, from elderly people, and apart from so many genres he has tried, only novel is the form which he did not try. So he is a prolific, not only prolific but influential writer and critic. The novelette strongly influenced the literary trends in the 20th century. But see, despite his high profile personality, despite his prolific writing, his English is polished and highly sophisticated, yet very easy for the ordinary man. But if you look at his English language through literary aspects, then certainly one is totally at he is very confused, simply because, like Keats, he has got plenty of references from not only Europe or Greek and Roman cultures only, but throughout the world he is adopting so many things. For example, if I may talk about the Wasteland, the poem which revolutionized the whole European literature, which affected the English way of writing, which gave totally new look to the English poetry, has so many references. That is why very often it is said that T.S. Eliot is the poet of collage. He picks up something from India, he picks up something from Greek, he picks up something from Swiss literature, he picks up something again from Germany, he picks up something say from the eastern countries, he picks up something from America, he picks up something from Canada. Now, if I say that T.S. Eliot is English poet, but you find so many words which come across from all parts of the world. So the difficulty in T.S. Eliot is his prolificity and multiplicity of so many words from all over the world, but it is English. If you find something as a word from say Germany, a word from German language, naturally most of us are not very much familiar with the German words, so it would be again difficult. He would pick up a corner kind of references from the huge sea of Greek and Roman cultures, and if you are not familiar, you will certainly would like to keep his poem away. You would certainly not touch the Wasteland again. The problem in his English is this only. Now I would put up the other side of his language. I have picked up some lines from one of his tragedies, which was written in typical Greek norms, as per the Greek traditions of tragedy, and the language he is using. See, interesting part is this: he is talking about an event, a kind of murder, which occurred say almost in 12th century. So almost 800 years back this has occurred, and he is using the language of 20th century. So certainly you will not find it difficult to follow. I picked up quite some line, and I would also read out for you some of the lines from the book, and you will certainly find no, T.S. Eliot is certainly not difficult. Though he is writing the tragedy in the typical Greek style, the spirit is typical English. The language is most sophisticated but very, very simple. Now look at this slide and think it over. These are the lines, rather opening lines from his tragedy, Murder in the Cathedral. Cathedral, I think you know, which is a kind of church. And the story is about the murder of Archbishop of Canterbury. And I started with Chaucer. The poem of Chaucer, which I had picked up for you, has also something to do with the same theme, that is Canterbury. I quoted opening lines of the Canterbury Tales, prologue part, and I also end with the reference to Canterbury, and it is from Murder in the Cathedral by T.S. Eliot. Now see the lines, and you won't need any time as such to follow it. See how simple it is. But mind well, Chaucer wrote in 14th century, T.S. Eliot wrote in 20th century. Both of them have the same thing in mind, that is Canterbury. T.S. Eliot is talking about an event which occurred in 12th century, while Chaucer is talking about an event which occurred in 14th century. But the English of T.S. Eliot is far easier than the English language of Chaucer. And see the lines, and I am sure no one would find it very difficult to follow. It is a kind of, say, lines meant for the nursery children. Now I would read it out, and I am sure you will also enjoy. 7 years and the summer is over. 7 years since the Archbishop left us, he who was always kind to his people, but it would not be well if he should return. Now these are actually the opening lines, and as per the Greek tradition, one has to, the writer of tragedy, give some references, some hint to the events which are going to occur. Here is also a reference that the Archbishop has returned after 7 years. No difficulty in understanding his English. And the last line is very much suggestive, but it would not be well if he should return. He is the Archbishop of Canterbury. And people are worried, okay, this Archbishop has returned to England, he is returning to Canterbury, but certainly it is not well if he should return. So he is not doing a wise step if he returns over here. This is the reference to the future action, on the basis of which we can find that there must be something wrong with the Archbishop, and the title itself tells, yes, there is something wrong, certainly, because it is murder, and murder in the cathedral, Archbishop's headquarter. So it occurs in the cathedral, that is why it is a tragedy. But my point is not the storytelling. I would like to draw your attention towards English language of T.S. Eliot, and you may also compare the English on the same, almost same topic, English of Geoffrey Chaucer. You will certainly find that Geoffrey Chaucer is equally very, very difficult, whereas T.S. Eliot in this respect is very easy, simply because his language is highly sophisticated. I may repeat the lines for you, I may read it out, and you certainly feel that no, there is no difficulty in understanding what he is saying. His English language is so simple. And then I would turn towards some recent developments, and that would be a kind of interactive session also, and you will also certainly have some exercises to do. You may, before we could proceed, you may keep your notebooks and pen ready. If you would like to take down something from them, from the slides, you may better. If you would like to ask questions, you may better ask questions. If you would like to share, I would be happy to listen to you. But let me read these lines, and I in a way conclude my talk of the journey of English language right from Chaucer to T.S. Eliot. I have covered so many poets, so journey of English language is through poems, through poets. So you find variations. I started with Chaucer and I end up with T.S. Eliot, and I would also read some lines, and I would show how he is difficult. though his language is simple. See this line I am reading out, and I would read out some lines from a book, The Wasteland, and you will certainly find no, he is rather difficult, simply because like kids, he is using references, mythological, biblical and so on, from all quarters, from all corners of the world, including India. So these lines are very simple, but the lines I would read, you will certainly find difficult. 7 years and the summer is over. Very easy. 7 years since the Archbishop left us. He was in a kind of self-exile and he had left England. Now he is returning. He who was always kind to his people. He was Archbishop after all, so he was always very kind. And the last line, but it would not be well. See, very easy language. If he should return. Now these are the lines which are very easy. Now I would read some of the lines from his marvelous work, The Wasteland, and you will try to follow. Some of you might have read it at some level. See the line. In a way you find it very difficult, easy, but if you go to references, certainly it is not easy. So take care. I am reading from the third section of The Wasteland. I would like to read out for you. The line is very simple, but if you go to references, then certainly they are very difficult. I would pick up some lines. The river's tent is broken. River's tent is broken. Tent is broken in a way. It is very easy. There must be a kind of tent on the banks of a river. It is broken, but that is the external meaning only. But if you go to the intrinsic value of the poem, then it is not so easy. I would also turn to another line from second section, and this line is repeated for so many times, almost 4 to 5. Hurry up, please, it's time. Again the same line is repeated. It is 16869. Hurry up, please, it's time. Now hurry up, it's time. We find the English language very easy. Yeah, what is the difficulty in that? But it has reference to the English life, British life, of European life, and it is a kind of warning that it is the time you must live. It is a kind of warning bell. We are writing papers now, and say after before 10 or 15 minutes prior to the end time, there is a bell, and we call it warning bell. So you tie up your answer books and you fill up the details, and that is warning that you have got only 10 minutes to go. Here it is a warning line for the bar. The bar is about to close, shut down, so that there is a man who goes, hey, hurry up, and you know that that is meant for the European culture. So they need some time to prepare themselves for the exit. That is why he warned them, you got only 5 minutes, you got only 10 minutes to go, so hurry up. Now it is midnight. Hurry up, please, it's time's to close. One more reference, for example, when Lil's husband got demobbed. Again the reference to Lil, and you have to search for that. I would go to the last section, and also one reference from the third section. Tweet. Of course, most of us are very much familiar with Twitter, and here is the reference to that. But the next line, jug, J-U-G. If you go for the dictionary meaning, then jug is jug which we use to provide water. We fill up water in jug and we fill up the glasses through that water. So we use jug. It is a domestic kind of utensil. But here, tweet, jug, so rudely forced stare you. So all these 4 lines has got not the external meaning, but there are some intrinsic meanings. So one need to go through those meanings, one has to look for those meanings, then only you will follow his English. Otherwise Jug is jug for us, but it is not that. It is repeated jug, 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 jug almost 6 times, and this same line is repeated very often in the same section, in the same poem. Now I would turn to the last section, and there are references. For most of us, these references would be rather easy, but for European writers, for Americans, for Australians, those who don't have the roots in India, they would certainly find it very difficult. I would read line number 400 from the Westland of T.S. Eliot. The title of that section is What the Thunder Said. Now the line is very, yes, thunder, it says something, okay, fine. In rainy season we have thunder sounds, so we feel pleasure, we are happy. But here again there is a reference. The sound of the thunder has some meaning. It is not without meaning. It gives you kind of warning. It tells you, it preaches you, T.S. Eliot says. So the line goes like this. Then spoke the thunder, the. He says, the. That is the sound of thunder. But what is the meaning of this the? He uses the lines, the quotations from Upanishad. For Hindus, Upanishads, they are easy to follow. If I say what does the mean, for us it would be rather easy, but it would be certainly very difficult for the European or Western readers. So these are the difficulties in understanding his English language. The line again, then spoke the thunder, the. The next line, he gives the meaning of the, that is datta, give, show charity. Oh, datta, datavyam, that is Sanskrit word. He is taken from the Bruhadaranyaka Upanishad, and the sound of thunder says that the. What is the? The is datta. You give to the needy people. You show charity to the needy people. That is the sound. Now if